If you want, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be the Totally Should Have book tag, which I will link down below. Emma Books, she was the one creating it. And we're just going to be having fun talking about these books. I tried to find answers that are not the ones I would repeat always over and over again to try and make it more interesting. And some of these answers, I have books that I rarely talk about, so I think it's going to be fun. Question number 1. Totally should have gotten a sequel. I feel like that about a lot of standalone books. The first books that did pop into my mind are technically not going to be standalone, but they have been for a few years and they will still be for a few years, so I'm just giving them a little shout out. These two books by Sanderson, you have Warbreaker and then we have Elantris, and these are usually the books that I recommend starting Sanderson's with because I feel like everyone recommends the Miz Bourne trilogy, but it's 3 huge books. And I mean, there are slow moments in 3 huge books, right? So I feel like a standalone is just easier to start with. You get an idea what his type of like magical system and world buildings are like. And both of these I absolutely adored. And they're technically standalone. But then afterward, he decided that he would include, I think one of these is going to be 3 books and another one is going to be just 2 books. But again, they've been published for years and years and they've been standalone ever since. And eventually, we're told it's not going to be a standalone. But still, I am left wishing for sequels, but I don't think that actually counts, I guess, for this question. So I wanted to talk about this book. Technically, I kind of want just more in this universe. I don't really want this story to be continued, but I'm still giving it a shout out because it's a book I rarely talk about, but I found fascinating, and it is 6 Weeks. And this one, let me try to explain it. Basically, it's kind of a sci-fi murder mystery. And in this world, basically when you are killed, you can be put into a clone and you're technically fine. But you have to, like, you know, register your memory once in a while to have it. So what happens is that all of these people wake up in a new clone, not remembering what happened and knowing that on this ship, someone killed everyone. So they have to kind of like put pieces back together and try to remember what happened. And I thought that was really interesting, and I kind of wish we could have like a spin-off book, like a sequel, but not really a sequel of this, because I thought it was super interesting. So I don't know. I know it wouldn't necessarily be easy to do, but I just wanted to talk about it. Question number 2, totally should have had a spin-off series. So this one was like a standalone, so series, I'm gonna go with The Winter's Curse. And again, I feel like sometimes when I want spin-off series, really what I want is just another story with the same characters, right? And in this one, it is a YA fantasy romance, and I always laugh when I talk about it because it made it to my favorite romance books, and I keep saying how much I don't like romance, yet for some reason I was into this one. It just happens that way sometimes, and I kind of wanted to see more in this world and even of this romance, I guess. It did finish on a satisfying note, so really, I don't know why I'm still here wanting more, but here we are. This is definitely my answer. Question number 3. An author who totally should have written more books. I have so many answers here. So I tried to choose authors that don't have like a million books out, because obviously whenever you have a favorite author, you always want them to have more books, but most of the authors I love tend to have multiple books. So obviously this video was pre-filmed, but since then the author announced that she's coming out with a new book in 2020 in February, so there it is, there will be more. First what I wanted to mention is Emily St. John Mandel. This is Station 11. It's the well-known kind of character-driven post-apocalyptic, so if you don't want super action-packed ones, I would always recommend this one. But I don't think the author came out with a lot of other books, if any, that I can think of. At least I never hear anyone mention anything else other than that. And I would be kind of curious to see something else by her. So that's definitely one of my answers. I absolutely needed to talk about Jenny Nelson. I did read The Sky is Everywhere, and then I'll Give You the Sun. The first one was okay. This one is so good. It's one of my favorite YA contemporary. And both of her books actually were about grief, so I'm not sure if the author went through anything, but she's really great at writing those type of stories. And in this one, I did like the writing. It won't be for everyone, but I loved the writing. And I just had my poor little heart crushed, and I enjoyed it. And I would totally love to see more books by her. So I believe she only has like 2 books out, so definitely want more by her. Last but not least, I feel like this author does have multiple books, but I want so many more, and I just need to talk about it. Jon Ronson. He's an author that keeps producing nonfiction books with very interesting topics, and I just need so many more. Like, the more the better. I've technically only read 2, so really I should just finish all the ones he has already written, but I still want more. So basically the book that I do own is So You've Been Publicly Shamed, which, oh, so still relevant right now. Basically, he is following a bunch of people that said something that they should have probably on the internet, and they get attacked and their life is completely changed forever. Like, for example, the woman that tweeted that very silly thing about, was it HIV in Africa or something? And everyone went after her. She was like on the plane, and then when she got out of the plane, her life was ruined forever. So he's kind of following those stories and kind of seeing how it affects them. But also he made the link of how differently people are attacked depending on how they react. And also if they are women or men, what do people go after? For example, like men, it's more like people go after their jobs, for example. And women, it's like sexual threats that they get. And like, just a really fascinating topic. And my favorite part is that the author is like awkward in the most relatable way possible. I highly recommend actually listening to his books as audiobooks, because at least this one and the other one that I did listen to about the psychopaths one, the psychopath test, I think that's the title. And he's just super funny in my opinion. I mean, to like nonfiction books where you're following the author going through, you know, research, you kind of have to like them, and I do, so definitely already a plus there. But yes, I just need more by him. He always goes for like weird topics that I want to know more about, and yes, this one is again incredibly relevant. I feel like as a booktuber, or just YouTuber, because I do have a beauty channel, and I do feel this pressure of like, what if I say something stupid? Or like people take it out of context or take it wrong, and like, I mean, on a daily basis I get people twisting what I say, so it's kind of terrifying to read this book and realize that it could be you. I mean, it could be anyone, right? Those people were mostly anyone. So yeah, I feel like you need to read this book. Or he needs to bring more books out. That's my point. Oh, also Madeline Miller, she's the author of Circe and the Song of Achilles, and I have yet to finish that last one, but her writing is so beautiful. She writes historical fiction, kinda, but not really, because it's more fantasy, because it's about, what's that word? You know, the Greek gods and stuff like that. Mythology? You know what I mean. And she does a fantastic job at it. So I want more by her. I'm sure she will write more, but I just want more. That was a long answer, but that's probably my favorite question in here. Question number 4, a character who totally should have ended up with someone else. I feel like that's gonna be, actually, let me know your answers. I would be very curious to hear that, because I don't have that much that comes to mind, and the only ones that do are kind of spoilery. So let me mention one thing that isn't spoiler, because I will not spoil it, and then I will be putting like on the screen a spoiler and move on. So this is the first book in the Remnant Chronicles, which is The Kisses of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. And in this book, you're following a princess who is supposed to be like an arranged marriage, and she doesn't want anything to do with it. So on the day of the wedding, she just runs away, and 2 men go after her. You have the prince she was supposed to marry, and then an assassin sent to kill her. But throughout the book, you don't know who is who. And obviously love triangle, it's a YA fantasy romance, and I'm kind of not happy with who she ended up with. Like, I understand the logic behind it, but like, I don't like it. So this is definitely one of my answers here. I'm not gonna say more again because no spoilers. And I also wanted to mention quickly Miz Bourne. I don't think it's really a spoiler, but if you don't want any spoiler, definitely skip ahead when there's no more spoiler on the screen. Anyone else kind of wanted to ship her with Zayn? Is that his name? Like, I understand that he was a little cray-cray, but like, I kind of shipping them a little bit. Maybe. Question number 5. Totally should have ended differently. Oh, I feel like I would also love to hear anyone else answers for that. But I'm going to talk about Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Revel. The 3rd book, I would have completely rewritten. Is that harsh? I feel like it's one of those series that the 1st book was the best one, and it kind of went downhill afterwards. And I was super disappointed with book 3. I didn't like what was done. I was not satisfied with the ending. I kind of put it down and was like, really, that was it? I just didn't like the overall direction. Like, there was so much potential and was left disappointed. Again, it's the last book in the series, so I can't really say more, but that one. Question number 6, totally should have had a movie franchise. I mean, it can still happen, right? But I'm gonna go with Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I mean, it's absolutely possible that most of his books will become movies or TV shows because, yes. But I feel like this one would make a really great movie series because, franchise, because there's a bunch of battles in like spaceships, and I feel like people would enjoy that even if they don't really care about anything else. It's a really, really solid book. I feel like this would make a really, really great movie franchise. And I say that after having read only the first book out of 4, but anyone else? I would totally watch that movie. And then question 7 is which one would have made a great TV show? And this is where we all have to agree that Miz Bourne, also by Brandon Sanderson, would make a fantastic TV show, but like probably like animation, because the magic system is so complex, you kind of need to not be it being humans, right? If you don't know anything, you need to read this. It is a very complex world building, but the magic system is super fascinating. Basically, people that do have magical powers have to ingest metals in order to burn them. And it's a strict magic system. So for example, if you have that one power, you need that one element, and then that's the power that you get is exactly that type of thing. And I kind of liked what he did with those restrictions. So this would make a really fantastic TV show. Also Harry Potter, because Harry Potter is always the answer. Number 8, totally should have had only one point of view, or less, I guess, point of view, because I never realized that point of views are a thing. I did the opposite version of this book tag. I will link it down below. And that and the next questions are always the one I struggle with, because I don't necessarily notice that there's multiple point of views, to be honest. But I kind of wanted to mention the Priory of the Orange Tree, because that book was like 800 pages. It's like, it's a chunky boy. And I feel like there were 4 main stories that you were following, and it got kind of, I felt exhausted towards the end, like too many stories in one book, and it felt basically like a trilogy in one book, which, yes, it's nice because you get a lot of content, but I feel like they probably could have reduced the amount of point of views. Obviously more than one, but probably less than the 4-ish we got. Okay, the next 2 questions are about covers, and again, I suck with covers, but I will mention for the ones that should have had a cover change, I'm just gonna say that, you know how I showed you Skyward by Brandon Sanderson? This is the UK edition, and I'm gonna show you the US one, and you will all have to agree with me that it's worth getting this on Book Depository, because this looks a million times better. I swear sometimes I look at book covers and I'm like, why? And then last but not least, totally should have stopped at book 1. I'm gonna like switch it a little bit, and I'm gonna say totally shouldn't have not had a spin-off series. I feel like I'm exaggerating a little bit by putting this book in here, but I mean, I like being a little dramatic, right? And I'm just so disappointed by the first book. I'm still hoping that it will improve in the rest of the series, but book 1 sucked. The Book of Dust by Philip Pullman. This is the first book in the La Belle Sauvage series, which is a spin-off series from Is Dark Materials, which I loved. Like, straight up gave it all 5. Love them, recommend them so much. They're technically YA fantasy, but like adults will so love it too. And I read this one and it, meh. I am so not impressed. It felt super pointless. Like, it's fun to be back in the universe because I love the universe, but like not that much happens, and it's like 400 and something pages, and it feels like a huge prologue for whatever will happen next. So I would say don't waste your money. Like, get it at your library if you can, but like I totally feel like I've wasted my money here. I will continue reading it, but this was a waste. So those are my answers for this book tag. Please let me know in the comment section your answers because I want to know. Don't forget to give this one a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe because you definitely don't want to miss any future videos. I will be actually putting some on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I shall see you in my next one. Bye.